Hello, my name is Frank Adamson. My colleague Linda Darling-Hammond and I have written a paper that looks at why teachers are inequitably distributed in California and New York. In particular, we've looked at the differences, often quite substantial differences, in school funding, teacher salaries, and teacher qualifications in school districts in California and New York. To better understand the decisions that teachers have to make about what districts to teach in, we examined the San Francisco Bay Area and New York City labor markets. Teachers in these labor markets live within commuting distance of districts that have differences in funding and working conditions. Before we delve into the data, Linda will provide some background about attempts to get high-quality teachers in every classroom.
A main reason for our research is the inequitable distribution of teachers that has existed in this country for a long time. By any standard, certification, educational qualifications, verbal ability on measured tests, the distribution of teachers to kids of different kinds in different schools, in different districts, has been disparate. Concerns over this have been the source of many lawsuits and led to a feature of No Child Left Behind, which requires highly qualified teachers in all schools serving funded children. That, however, has not yet come to be, and we wanted to get at the source of the problems. What really causes this disparate distribution? There have been a lot of different strategies that have been tried, some of them including things like combat pay, so to speak, bonuses for working in high-need schools, alternative certification to get teachers more quickly into those schools have been used over many years, but they have not eliminated the problem. There are a lot of reasons for this. As one National Board Certified teacher put it, when asked if he would go teach in a low-income school, he said, "I would move to such a school, but I would want to see social services for parents and children, accomplished leadership, adequate resources and facilities, and flexibility, freedom, and time." In fact, in South Carolina, where they gave an $18,000 bonus in the 2000s, that level of funding only attracted 20% of the 500 teachers they needed to work in the state's high-need schools in the first year, and they only got to 40% of that need in subsequent years. So we wanted to get to the root of the problems, and using both wage adjustments to control for cost of living differentials and straight unadjusted numbers, we found that there were disparities across states in funding of about a 3-to-1 ratio, across districts within states in funding, and that those disparities are also 2.5-to-1 or 3-to-1 between the levels of spending of high spending and low spending districts. And then, of course, inequitable salary levels and working conditions associated with those things within the states and across districts. We also found that low salary districts serve students with higher needs, both lower income students and, in California, a higher proportion of minority students and English language learners. They also offer larger class sizes and end up hiring teachers with significantly lower qualifications as measured by things like certification, education levels, experience levels. We found that districts that serve the highest proportions of minority and low-income students typically have about twice as many uncredentialed and inexperienced teachers as districts serving the fewest.
To better understand what these state-level disparities actually mean for teachers, we conducted a detailed analysis of two labor markets, the San Francisco Bay Area and New York City. Our goal was to identify the different salaries that a teacher would earn by choosing to teach in different districts within commuting distance of each other. In California, a teacher in Alameda County was paid about $54,000 in 2008 to work in the Oakland School District. Less than 30 miles away, but still in Alameda County, the average teacher's salary in the Pleasanton School District was almost $82,000. In 2008, a new teacher in Pleasanton earned more than $16,000 than his or her counterpart in Oakland. Turning to New York State, we compared teachers in New York City with those in neighboring Nassau County. The results show that any teacher in New York City earns less than his or her colleagues in Nassau County. A teacher in New York City's geographic district number 1 earned a median salary of about $60,000, while less than 30 miles away, Jericho Union School District paid a median salary of more than $109,000, a difference of almost $50,000. Within Nassau County, teachers making the median salary in Jericho Union earned almost $34,000 more than their counterparts in Roosevelt Union, a school district just 12 miles away. People often ask, who teaches in these districts and why do these salary differences exist? To figure out the relationship between teacher salary and the types of teachers in school districts, we conducted elasticity analyses. They show that after controlling for student characteristics and proxies for working conditions, a 1% increase in teacher salary is associated with a 2% reduction in the proportion of inexperienced teachers in both California and New York. This 1% increase in teacher salary is also associated with a 3% decrease in the proportion of uncredentialed teachers in California, a 3% decrease in the proportion of teachers without a permanent credential in New York, and a 4% reduction in teacher turnover in California. These teacher qualifications, in turn, are associated with student achievement, holding student characteristics constant. So, the data show that large salary differences occur between school districts, with lower salary districts having less prepared teachers with fewer years of experience, which in turn correlates with lower student achievement. Linda will offer some policy recommendations that follow from our findings.
We looked at several state strategies for overcoming these problems, as well as a set of federal strategies. With respect to state strategies, we looked back at the record of states that had made significant progress in equalizing the distribution of well-qualified teachers across districts in the 1990s. And in particular, Connecticut and North Carolina, which had very explicit policies intended to redress these problems. There were three big strategies that they used that were part of their successful outcomes. The first was that they both improved salaries and equalized them across districts. In North Carolina, which has a statewide salary schedule, they did that through the salary schedule itself. In Connecticut, which is a local control state, they gave incentives to local districts to get up to a minimum salary level, with more money going to poorer districts to help them get to that level. That both improved the size and quality of the pool, and it leveled the playing field and made it possible for districts to begin to compete in the labor market for well-qualified teachers. In Connecticut, for example, they eliminated shortage of teachers within 3 years, produced a surplus, and had one of the best qualified teaching forces for more than 15 years following the introduction of that policy of almost any state in the country. Simultaneously, in both cases, they raised teacher standards. So they raised the attractions to the profession and the standards at the same time. They strengthened preparation and licensing standards. They required beginning teacher assessments that, in the case of Connecticut, were performance assessments for beginning teachers, and strengthened evaluation for the veteran teaching force and strengthened the capacity of principals to engage in that evaluation productively. And they also provided very high quality, widely available professional development for teachers. Finally, they attempted to improve teacher retention and succeeded in doing so by providing mentors for all beginning teachers and ensuring that they would not leave in that churn of the beginning years. And they also improved teaching conditions in high-need schools through other financial investments. We think states should be leveraged to adopt these more fundamental strategies for solving these problems through a set of federal initiatives that would be companions to this. And we propose 4 federal strategies for beginning to address these issues. The first of them is to equalize and rationalize the distribution of federal funds to states, because in fact under ESEA we give more money to high spending states because that is the metric on which the money is distributed in addition to per capita, than we do to low spending states. And we think that that really ought to be changed to use cost of living differentials and pupil needs as the major determinants of the allocation of federal funds to states. Then within states and districts, we think that the federal government ought to require states to report on their resource allocations as they report on their achievement progress under ESEA today, to report the level of funding for each district, the teacher qualifications for each school and district, as well as other resources like curriculum opportunities and materials. And they should tie, in addition to that, progress on these resource equity measures, including teacher equity measures, to the continued receipt of federal funds, just as progress on outcome indicators or achievement indicators is expected now under the No Child Left Behind approach. And finally, they should, at the district level, enforce the existing ESEA comparability requirements, which require districts to distribute teachers equitably between low-income and higher-income schools, and in particular to ensure that high-poverty schools do not have higher proportions of inexperienced teachers, teachers without certification, or teachers who are out of field than low-poverty schools do. That would mean that districts would need to put the right kinds of working conditions in those schools, the right kinds of teaching and learning opportunities so that they are as attractive to qualified teachers as other schools are.
Thank you for joining us.